guys, welcome to Be the Boss Dog Training, where we're going to bust 3 leash training myths today, so stay tuned. And don't forget to subscribe. Okay guys, myth number 1, dogs pull on the leash because they are being stubborn. This is absolutely not true and absolutely true. Well, you'd say, Bethany, how can it be both? Some dogs do pull on the leash because they are being stubborn. Some dogs feel the owners pulling on them and hear the owners telling them not to pull, but they go ahead and do it anyways because they don't care about their owners. So yes, some dogs are stubborn, but most of the time, this is not true. Here are a couple of reasons why dogs pull on the leash, and it doesn't mean they're stubborn. One is breed. Depending on the breed you have, guys, if you have a hound dog or a hunting dog, these dogs are way more likely to pull on the leash. Their sniffer is going, they get stimulated, they want to hunt, and they want to see what's out there, and so they will pull on the leash. Just like Carbon here, who's half hunting breed, his genetics drove him to be excited, to sniff, to want to see what's over the next bend. Carbon was not stubborn all the time. In fact, he was just acting out his genetics. So myth number 1 is that dogs that pull on a leash are stubborn, and this may not be true. It may just be genetics. It may be overstimulation. Okay guys, myth number 2 is that leash training is only for walking your dog. A lot of people think that I just need to get my dog to walk nicely on a leash so I can take them on walks around the neighborhood. While that is your highest pain point, that does not mean that is all you should leash train your dog for. The concept of leash training, believe it or not, is not about going on a walk with your dog and stopping them from pulling. The concept of leash training is teaching a dog to give to pressure. So that means when the leash is on their collar and they feel tension, right? You give a little pop, it means they need to give to that pressure. So on a walk, yes, it does mean stop pulling. But in the house, it means stop jumping, pay attention, look to me because I'm asking you to do something. So leash training is not just about stopping my dog from pulling on the walk. Leash training is about, does your dog know that when the leash goes on, they need to act a certain way? When they feel pressure, they're supposed to give to it, and they're supposed to look to you for guidance. So leash training is not just about stopping the pulling, it's about your communication with your dog. So leash training for bigger dogs might look a little bit different than leash training for smaller dogs. Bigger dogs, it's going to be more focused on not pulling when you're on a walk. Small dogs, it's going to be more focused on not barking, staying by your side, looking at me when I ask for your attention. So depending on the size of your dog and what you're asking your dog to do, leash training covers many facets, all of which are about communication and safety with your dog. The third myth about leash training is that leash training is time consuming. If you've ever gone online, if you've ever read books, they talk about having to be consistent for weeks and months and have treats and have it be a daily practice with your dog to get them to stop pulling. That is simply a myth. At my pack walks that we hold every week, in one lesson with our clients, we stop leash pulling. So this myth of that it's time consuming, it takes energy, your dog has to learn, and it's going to be this long drawn out process is simply a myth. Time and time again, thousands of times we have proved this wrong. Leash training is not time consuming. To stop a dog from pulling, to get them to look at you, and to stop reactivity, take one walk. It is not time consuming. Consistency is different. Consistency builds habits. This means your dog falls naturally into not pulling. Your dog falls naturally into looking at you and naturally into obedience. That is consistency. So leash training is not time consuming. It starts very quickly. Consistency will build the habit, so you are able to use different tools, different methods, and switch it up if you would like to. Okay guys, bonus tip. Our bonus myth today is small dogs don't need to be leash trained. This is absolutely false. Let me tell you why people don't leash train little dogs. It's because they're so small, if the dog is misbehaving, the owner can just pick them up. The dog doesn't need to be leash trained because they don't pull very hard, so it doesn't hurt the owner's arm, it doesn't disturb the owner's life very much, and the dog is so small that if they do misbehave, they can just pick up the dog. Here's why small dogs need to be leash trained. Leash training is not about pulling on the leash. Leash training is about communicating with our dogs. It's about connection and it's about respect. All dogs need that with their owners, regardless of their size. So when you're walking a small dog, if they are overstimulated and aggressive, they need to learn how to give to pressure. So if you give a little pop on the leash, they can stop their behavior, they can look to you and they can ask, what would you like me to do? So leash training is just as important for small dogs because we still want to have a connection with them, we still want them to respect us, we still want to have communication with them. And on top of that, safety is way more important for small dogs because of their size, if they get in a scuffle with another dog, they are way more likely to get hurt. So safety is a bigger issue with smaller dogs than with bigger dogs. I hope you enjoyed busting leash training myths with me. Watch this video, subscribe here, and we'll see you next time.